About Haters Back Off, right? So Haters Back Off is this new YouTube type of project, just in general, from a YouTuber, just in general, right? Now, for me, I have to kind of commend Haters Back Off, at least for the title, just in general, right off the bat, because, see, essentially, I believe she called it Haters Back Off so that it can deflect some of the negative reviews, just in case they actually got any, and therefore, if it's anything bad to be said about the show, it essentially would make the reviewers look like a bunch of haters. Now, the word hater kind of gets thrown around a lot like a frisbee in Central Park, but I will have to admit that you can call me a hater all you want, or I could just be a realist, because this season 1 of Haters Back Off is not that good, just in general. So let's talk about Haters Back Off. Last week, or a couple of weeks ago, was Late in America, another YouTube project from Casper and KSI, and that kind of sucked. Now, this one is not really that much better, but for the most part, it's also not that bad. Now, this show kind of comes across as a little bit overly exaggerated. I mean, to the point where there's not really anything I can really buy in here. There are some real stuff that kind of feels legit. Particularly, I really did like seeing some of the YouTube satire stuff, because I feel like that was some of the best parts of the actual, show, just in general. Poking fun of reaction videos, believe it or not. There was a part where Uncle Jim was looking at Miranda watch her own video, so that was actually kind of fun. And some of the aspects of YouTube, kind of like, almost like her first video being uploaded and just kind of waiting there for, hours upon hours just to see if somebody would click on the video. Those bring back some old and kind of ridiculous times, and seeing YouTube in like that nostalgia way, how it was set up, is actually kind of fun to see. The problem with this being overly exaggerated is that it does feel like a little bit of like a cartoon, and no character in this fucking show feels legit. Nobody feels real. Except maybe the sister, and even her, she's bland as fuck. The next problem is just that Miranda herself. She's just not a very interesting character to kind of really carry on this entire season. I mean, to the T. And I know people are going to be like, oh, this is outrageous. This is kind of completely terrible. This guy is fucking pissing off me right now. First of all, calm your panties up. Because one thing is for sure is just that if you are getting upset that I'm giving you a real opinion on a review, then you really need to check yourself right now, just in general. For me personally, just in general, it's just that she feels as if she is like if Napoleon Dynamite had sex with a human fucking nasal congestion, plus it's Pat from SNL and had a fucking three-way, then I feel like that's what she would kind of become. To me, she's not very likable, and I get it, that's what her character is supposed to be. Now, for me, I'm not a big fan of YouTubers kind of having split personalities, because that just seems like a recipe for disaster in the real life, but that's just me just in general. Now, the most part is that the show does have sometimes chuckle moments. I will say that I did laugh a couple of times for the most part. And as a 90-minute show, particularly maybe for the first like 3 episodes, if you can't make it past the first 5 minutes, don't even go past anything else. I'm just saying that right now. But for the first 3 episodes, which is probably total up to an hour and 30 minutes, it probably wouldn't be that bad, honestly. I feel like it actually would have been okay for the most part. If it was 90 minutes. But then it has at least a couple of more episodes to go, and then you just start to realize this shit is kind of just getting annoying. And the character Miranda is just not interesting enough to carry on a full season, as I said, because she's just that fucking annoying. In skits and parts of videos, sure, that might actually work, but just in general, as a show, it doesn't work at all, and it just kind of comes across as just irritating, to the point of you just don't really want to see it. Just in general. I don't think she's the funniest part of the show. Honestly, I think she's the worst part of this show. And I know you're probably being triggered right now, and you're probably being pissed off, but that's the legit truth. The funniest part of the show is Uncle Jim. Now, Uncle Jim had me fucking dying. Uncle Jim reminds me of, like, when I started YouTube, which is not a big deal, but, like, when I started YouTube, and everybody has this, where you have that ambitious family member that has, like, so many ideas as to how to kind of get you famous. Even though it's not going to happen that quickly, that's kind of Uncle Jim. And I'm pretty sure everybody kind of has that in their family. And that's actually was the best part of the entire show. Just in general. The family itself is not really anything spectacular, as I said, except, Jim himself. And, the other cast members, they're okay. I feel like we've seen some of this type of awkward type of humor before. And it's not overly that funny for the most part, I just feel like they really could have done a lot more better, just in general with the show. I do kind of find it funny that a lot of these YouTube projects always have to kind of inject YouTube into them. From like Fred, I believe, also injected YouTube, or Smosh, or KSI, and them shits. They always kind of have to inject YouTube somehow inside of their projects. Now, this is not the worst YouTube project I've seen, but it sure as fuck is probably the worst female YouTube project I have seen. And that is saying something compared to like Grace Helbig shits and like, Superwoman, which I already have said I actually really enjoyed. But overall, this is not really that funny of a show. If you kind of like weird humor, you could kind of say this is for fans. And you'd be like, well, this is only for fans. You know, why did you even watch it to begin with? Well, I watched it because I can, and I don't owe you an explanation, but I did. And I gave you one because I could do it. But the thing is that I just feel as if the show itself, even though it is made for fans, you wouldn't say this is somebody like, hey, you're only going to watch House of Cards if you're a fan of Kevin Spacey. You're just going to watch it if it's a good show, just in general. So is this a good enough show for anybody to kind of get accessible to? No, not really, just in general. I feel like if you're a fan, sure, you might actually enjoy it. But then again, you might actually realize that maybe Miranda, and not Colleen, is actually a lot more interesting when she's in small doses instead of actually being in like a full stretched out season, which starts to just drag and not become really funny at all. And then you're just like, oh, okay, I don't think this is going to season 2, but it could actually go. Stranger things have happened, especially on Netflix. But either way, that's just my review. It's a decently funny show that doesn't really pack on too many laughs and just kind of feels more annoying than anything. If you can get past the nasal congestion dialogue, then I'm guessing you can probably have a fun enough time. Sure, it's for fans, but then again, that doesn't give an excuse for being a very average show that just kind of drags along. But that's my review, and I'm sure you're going to get very pissed off at it, but then again, that's on you. Comment, subscribe, and like if you actually enjoyed this shit, which you probably didn't. But I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.